Welcome to another edition of Das Corner. This is a Coast. Today's edition is sponsored by Lex Kidney Care and Lex Primary Care. Lex Primary Care are the newest primary care physicians in Lexington. If you are in the Lexington area or the greater Kentucky area and you need a primary care physician, please check them out. I have with me two gentlemen who are both doctors, Dr. Afenya and Dr. Ajay. Both doctors were trained in Ghana and are all practicing in the United States today. Dr. Afenya, can you kindly introduce yourself?
Thank you. So like Ako said, my name is Dr. Afenya. I trained in Ghana, University of Ghana, then came to New York, did my internal medicine in New York, and then did my fellowship in nephrology at the University of Kentucky, and now based in Kentucky and work for the University of Kentucky.
And Dr. Ajay?
Thank you, Akos. My name is Dr. Paul Ajay. I'm an infectious disease research physician, currently with the U.S. Army as a major, and with several other positions. But I did medical school, completed medical school in Ghana. He was my senior in medical school, actually.
Yeah.
Came here for internal medicine residency, infectious disease fellowship, joined the Army, and here we are. Thank you.
Oh, so the two of you, I have heard stories about the two of you at the University of Ghana, but this is not the place for me to go ahead and bring those out. So we'll just leave that for another interview another day.
Thank you, Akos.
Yes, we'll leave it.
I have stories to tell about him, but thank you.
Oh, you have stories to tell about
We'll
him?
leave it for another time. Thank you.
We'll keep.
Yeah,
Oh.
another time.
You do have stories to tell about him? Okay, okay, okay. I'll just leave it as
Yes,
that.
yes, yes, yes.
So both of you went to the University of Ghana Medical School, and then you moved over to the United States to work. So Dr. Afenya, when you were in Ghana, when you finished medical school, did you ever practice in Ghana before moving over?
Yes, yes, yes. So when I finished University of Ghana Medical School, I did practice a while, but mainly in general internal medicine as a general practitioner,
Okay.
which I did maybe a year before moving to the United States.
Okay. And Dr. Ajay?
Yes, similar to him, I practiced in Ghana before coming to the US. Unlike him, though, I practiced for 5 years
Oh, okay.
before coming to the US. And in between the 5 years, I also did several other things as UN peacekeeping mission, medical officer, and so I did all those before coming to the US.
Oh, so you already started with like the US peacekeeping
Yes.
before you came to the US.
Yes,
Dr. Ajay, thank you so much for your service.
thank you. You're welcome.
So based on both of you saying that you've practiced in Ghana before coming to the US, Dr. Ajay, what were your challenges with transitioning from practicing medicine in Ghana and then moving over to the United States to practice medicine?
Oh, I could. How much time do you have? But I'll give you only two instances because we could be here the whole day for that.
That means that you are giving me an opportunity to get you back on another interview.
Yes.
So please keep that in the back of your pocket.
I'll happily speak to your audience.
Okay.
So the first one for me was the cultural shock that in Ghana, the physician is the boss,
Okay.
right? You wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to go queue at the hospital. So then you could see the physician when he comes in,
Okay.
right? And the physician might come in 9, 10, 11 a.m. I don't mean to offend anybody, but
Okay.
that was that, right?
That's
So
the
I
culture.
came to the US with that same kind of mentality.
Gotcha.
Here in the US,
Mhm.
the patient is the boss.
That's correct.
You go wait for the patient, right? And they don't show up, you call them, hi, you had an appointment with me, you couldn't show up. How may I help you to show up next time? In Ghana, it's the other way around, right? You are the boss, they don't show up, you chastise them for not showing up.
Gotcha.
And life goes on.
Okay.
Second cultural shock for me was that in Ghana, my patients had bad or worse outcomes, right? Medical outcomes because of a lack of access to care.
Okay.
And I'll give you one example, not to take the entire time. But so they come, oh, your blood pressure is high today. Let me give you, I'll write amlodipine for you.
Okay.
And the first question is, I don't think I can afford amlodipine. What do I do?
That's in Ghana.
In Ghana. So they come back to the clinic, blood pressure is still high because of a lack of access to the medication.
Okay.
Flip to the US, when I came to the US, and I'm like, oh, your blood pressure is high, I'm going to give you amlodipine. And the first question is, why not Novask?
Because
I want the brand, not the generic.
Got you.
So they come back the next time, their blood pressure is high, and then you ask, oh, yes, but I did tell you, brand, no, generic doesn't work for me. Brand works for me.
Oh, okay.
And so people have bad outcomes because of too much choice.
Okay.
Here in the US, in Ghana, people have bad outcomes for a lack of choice.
Oh.
That was the biggest cultural shock for me. And in either case, in Ghana, it's the patient's fault. In the US, it's your fault.
Got you.
Responsibility.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And Dr. Fenya, what about you? What were some of the challenges you faced with transitioning?
So for me, like Dr. J said, mine is not necessarily the physician-patient interaction, but it's mainly moving from Ghana, where you work as a physician and you're well recognized. You walk in, you get that kind of recognition. But here, it's totally different. The patient sees you as somebody they can, they have their questions made up and they have their mind made up on some of the things that you were going to do for them. So it becomes really difficult moving from a different culture background to the United States, where things are completely different from how it is done in Ghana. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the biggest challenge, and then also navigating the system in terms of different cultures and paying things around. Let me give you an example. When I finished fellowship, my goal was to have my own practice.
Okay.
But to me, in Ghana, you just open your office and then you start billing people. So it took me a while to realize that you have to do what they call credentialing to all the insurance companies before you start billing. So I called the guy and I told him, oh, listen, my office is open and I'm ready for the patient. And he asked, did you do credentialing? I said, what is that? I said, you're way behind because it's going to take you 6 months to get the credentialing done. And that took and it was a learning curve for me to know that, listen, this system is insurance based and in Ghana is cash and carry, right? Cash and carry.
Cash and carry, yes.
Yes.
Cash and carry, yeah.
So the comparison is like with Ghana, if you have the money, you pay for the service and then you get what you want.
Yes.
And then you can go. But here, there are options. People are more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
They ask you so many questions.
Yes.
That is not even the bother, but the fact is that they have too much knowledge, so they're not heeding to a lot of your instructions medically, and then that gives the bad outcome. But in Ghana, they can't afford it, so there's a bad outcome.
Yeah, and either way, the responsibility lies with you, the physician, here in the US.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And that's the challenge, right?
Yes.
Read on Google, come do whatever you want, but a bad outcome for you means it's on me.
That's correct.
And that's one of the biggest.
So the other thing you're able to do easily is because it's insurance based, you're not limited as to the procedures that you can pick for the patient. For instance, if you want to do an MRI, you're not going to suffer. You're not going to ask, oh, can you afford the MRI before you do it? This is something you can just order.
Yes.
You may have some few challenges in terms of you doing
meeting
pre-authorization.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
Also,
you're still going to get it if you're approved.
If you're approved, and also just to ensure that resources are not wasted.
Correct.
So
Fraud
the
is an
pre-authorization, abuse, and so you'd have to go through, did you try pain medication, did you try physical therapy before you get to MRI, right?
Yeah.
Regardless, the facilities are there.
Gotcha.
The bad outcomes come from having choice
That's
and
correct.
options
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
here, and the bad outcomes come from not having choice of options in Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Because you're not going to ask, oh, hey, go and find out if you can afford the MRI, or sometimes they give you the requisition form,
yes.
and then you have to go to the radiology department.
Yes.
Once you get there, then you say, oh, then they say bring this amount. Then you say, okay, now you can't afford it. Now you have to go and look for it,
So
and
that's in
that's
Ghana.
a delay.
That's in
Yeah.
So here, you all are battling. So it's a battle between you and the insurance companies.
Yes.
for options.
For options.
Uh-huh.
And affordability
Affordability.
also is not on the patient but on the insurance company. So it's about, first of all, if you want to start your practice, there's a lot of licensure, there's a lot of rules and regulations.
Yes.
You have to get credentialed because the insurance companies are paying you. So then you have to negotiate rates with the insurance companies and see how much you get paid.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to like ordering tests, it's up to the insurance company to approve it or not based on medical necessity.
Yes, and so I think it's all because of utilization of resources. So not to abuse the system. It's not every requisition that you need prior authorization for. Some most of the requisitions you can do it yourself. But when it comes to PET scan, for instance, MRI, for instance, then you need prior authorization.
Radiation therapy, right?
Right.
Things like that.
Then you need prior authorization.
So this brings us to the point that here in the United States, because there's the insurance companies and all of that, it's well organized and there's more utilization management to avoid fraud, waste, and abuse. Okay.
That is
Yeah, that's a nice summary. I go back to the paradox of on the other side of the world, people have bad outcomes because they don't have
The resources.
options, access, and resources. And over here, people get bad outcomes because of they are overwhelmed with choice, access, and resources.
Gotcha.
I want brand, not generic.
As opposed to
Right, and so they're like, you gave me generic and I had diarrhea, so I didn't take the medication. I have a bad outcome, my blood pressure is still not controlled. On the other side of the planet, you're like, I give you generic. Oh, well, I couldn't afford it, right? So so for me, it was a big culture shock, right? That I think I've done my work for you to come back with a good outcome. And then you come and the outcome is not so good, outcome is not so good, but then I realized, it's my fault for not listening to you, telling me that I don't tolerate generic, I only tolerate brand.
Okay.
I think it boils down to that. You can pass it whichever way you want.
Yes.
And it's one of the things we learn when we come
here.
Because you are ultimately responsible for
For
what
the
happens
outcome.
to your
Yeah,
patient,
yeah.
right?
Yes, it is.
And that's the key.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dr. J, I have in my hand, a book that you've written, which is the U.S. Army Medical Department Direct Commissioning course. So I know that you are a major in the Army, and you wrote this book, which I have read, and I feel like it's a good manual for anybody who wants to join the Army as a direct commissioner. And this is really good. What motivated you to write this book?
So it's interesting, right? And so, and not to take too much time again, just going back briefly, I have had a big interest in joining the military, right?
Okay,
And
Dr. J, hold that thought. Let me just take a commercial break so that we can get our sponsors. Ajay, welcome back. I'm sorry for cutting you short on there, but the question was what motivated you to write the book?
yes, oh, I almost forgot. But thank you. Thanks for reminding me. So, you know, I have had this interest of joining the military for a long time. And we all come from Africa. We know the concept of military is different in the Western world compared to Africa, right? So
Right.
I, after advanced level, after high school, wanted to join, after high school equivalent in the US in Ghana, I wanted to join the military. And my mom said, no, I wanted to go to the university before you join the military.
Okay.
And so I moved over that and ended up going to the medical school, and so I thank my mom for that. Right? And so then after medical school, I went to the military hospital to work. And that's how come I got to serve in the United Nations peacekeeping.
Gotcha.
But again, for me, coming from a background of complete illiterates, I was a torch of the family.
Okay.
And so I went to work in a military hospital with the intention of going to the Ghana Military Academy
Gotcha.
to specialize. And I was told that there's a backlog of 7 years of people waiting to specialize if you
Oh.
join the military. It's no longer so. I came to the US in 2008, and so it's changed since then. Now you can go join the army
Okay,
and specialize.
That's great.
And so I chose not to join the army and come to the US to advance my career, advance myself, go back and join the army.
Gotcha.
So that's what happened. So I came to the US, specialized, sub-specialized, and then I decided to join the military for a few reasons. I wanted to start a service tradition in my family. So
Okay.
my family, my children, my grandchildren will serve in the military.
That's awesome.
Also to give back to the United States for giving me something to hold on to. Right?
Oh,
And so during the infectious disease fellowship, I had gone to Scotland to present a research abstract in Scotland, Glasgow. And while I was presenting my abstract, this gentleman approached me. Here's a funny story. Approached me in 2008 to say, hey, you know, I see you are doing an HIV research. The US military has an HIV research going on. Would you be interested in joining?
oh.
And I remember joking and saying, could you hear my accent? Who wants me in their military? And he said, oh, you know, in the army, we want quality, not quantity.
Oh.
In any case, if you want to join, here's my card, call me. And so it came to pass that in 2020, after fellowship, during COVID, I decided my life wasn't complicated enough. I would join the army.
Okay.
So I joined. And so one of the principles you learn in the army is that there's something called stewardship of the profession,
Okay.
right? You meet the profession in a certain way, you improve it for the upcoming generations. And that was that. I was in my 40s, about to go to basic training, and I Googled, and there was no book, no literature for me to read to prepare. And so after training, I'm like, if I'm going to leave the military in a better state than I found it, this is what I could do. So I wrote this book for people like me, 40-year-old professionals, physically unfit to join the military, how to get shape in, how to get military physical fitness readiness
Fitness,
to join the army.
okay.
That is
That was
this
what I
is
wanted
great.
to do.
And this book is on Amazon.
Yes,
I will put the link
yes,
down in the so people can go there
yes.
and get the book. So if there's anybody who's about 40 years old that wants to join the army, don't
Even
be
almost
discouraged.
50. Oh, so am I dating myself? Okay.
Almost anybody almost 50 years old who wants to
No,
join
no,
the army.
I'm 40 years old.
And you 40 years old who wants to join the army, this is a good book to read to motivate you, and I'm sure you
I'm
can
sure
say
it will even do
there's-
well
yes.
for anyone who is just interested.
Yeah, no, who's
in
interested?
the army.
And I'll tell you this,
Yeah.
people have reached out to me on Facebook, on Doximity, which is a
Yeah, definitely.
social media for
For
doctors,
doctors, yeah, doctors.
and LinkedIn, telling me, oh, like, out of the blue, the most recent person was somebody from Kenya, like a registered nurse who wanted to join the army. And I got a message on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, Major Ajay, I read your book. I found your book because I was desperate to try and get some information. I found it. It helped me. Thank you. I'm grateful. I left a review for you on Amazon."
That's
Yeah. So I keep getting these messages all over the place, and for me, the proceeds from this actually go to support veterans. Yeah,
Oh.
I haven't physically utilized any.
proceeds from this book.
No.
Oh, thank you so much for
I
your
donated,
service, and
so,
thank you for
yeah.
donating
So, yeah.
to our veterans.
Yeah.
Yes. So back to you, Dr. Fenya. You said you did a fellowship in nephrology at the University of Kentucky. And as you were speaking, you had said that you were a general practitioner in Ghana. So what made you specialize in nephrology?
That's very interesting. So when I was doing my internal medicine residency, second year, I did an elective rotation, which is, so you do your core rotation. That's, everyone is required to do the core. And so I picked my elective in nephrology.
Okay.
I'm the one that would usually do a lot of calculation, math. So I was trying to pick an area where you put numbers together.
Okay.
And nephrology was, my choice at that time. That look, if I really want to put numbers together, nephrology would do well for me because it's all numbers. We deal with numbers, not complicated numbers, but mainly.
Oh, they are complicated.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of numbers. So that's why I picked nephrology, because we deal with numbers.
So I know a little bit about you being the math guru.
Yes.
And I've heard stories about you teaching everybody math.
Yes.
When you were back in Ghana at the University of Kentucky. Sorry, at the University of Ghana, teaching people math.
Right.
Okay.
So math, yeah, that was my thing. Like math. I should have become a math
That's the
professor.
question out of my mouth. I was going to ask you, why didn't you become a statistician or an actuarist or something like that?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I gave myself some goals, and it was like, if I meet this goal, I'll go into medicine.
Okay.
But if I come below this goal, then I'll become a professor in maths. But I was way here, and I was like, okay, let me just go to medicine.
And just so this is a conversation, and I want to back my boss up. So he's kind of downplaying nephrology as not math enough. It is. We hear nephrology is all about the kidneys.
Yeah.
But if you want to know somebody's sodium is low, potassium is low, and you want to calculate, okay, total body water, how much potassium, how much sodium should I give, blah blah. It's a whole lot of math.
That's
so
true.
yes,
That's
he
true.
downplaying it, but big math.
That's true. I think that's the main reason
So
why.
nephrology is not for the faint-hearted.
Not for me at least. Not for me at least, yeah.
But I know, being in the University of Ghana math department, we had this professor Champion.
Oh, yes.
We all call him Achi. Yeah, I was Achi's boy. Yeah, so.
I didn't know that about my senior.
Yeah. I was Achi's boy. So,
okay.
But I basically ran away from him.
To medicine.
Yes.
Was he disappointed?
Somehow.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I'm sure he would have wanted me to go into maths and have a PhD.
Yeah.
In
Knowing
maths.
Achi, I think he would have been disappointed.
He may his soul rest in peace. He was a great.
Yes, a mathematician.
Yeah, he was really great.
Yeah.
Well, I wish we could sit here and carry on with this conversation, but unfortunately, this is all the time that I have. But at least I know that I have to get you two gentlemen together again, because there's a lot that we have to talk about when the two of you were in medical school in Ghana. The zip it up, it has to come out. We'll unzip it But thank you so much.
Thank
I
you
know it's
too, thank
Sunday
you too.
and you guys have taken time out of your busy schedule to be with me here, but thank you very much for your time. And thank you, Dr. Ajay, once again for your service. Dr. Afenya, thank you so much for all that you do for the Lexington community.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.